So the topic we are going to cover today is software configuration management. First of all, let's understand what actually the software configuration management is and what is its importance, what is the need of software configuration management, and many more things, right? So let's start with this. Firstly, we are going to understand what is software configuration management. So I've just taken the configuration management as CM, and when we define software configuration management, it is used in, as the abbreviation SCM is used for software configuration management. So if I am using anywhere as SCM, then it is software configuration management. So I have just taken here the concept of configuration management, not only talking about the software. So this is CM, configuration management. What is it? It is a technique which is used to identify, organize, and control the modification which is done to a software, right, by the programming team. So we can say that software configuration management is a technique for what? For identifying, organizing, controlling the modifications of software which is being built by a programming team. So the main agenda here is modification. You can see we are going to talk all about the modification in the software, because we are going to identify what we have to modify, we have to organize how the modification is to be done, and we have to control how the modification will take place and how it will be implemented. So all together we are talking about the modification. So software configuration is revolving around the concept of modification, or in simple terms we can call it as change, right? So this is what the software configuration management is about. Now, when I say software configuration management, so it is the discipline in which what we are going to do, it is just an elaborated form of the definition we have seen. I'm going to identify the change. This is what, this is modification. So I'm going to identify the change. I'm going to monitor and control the change. That means I have to take, or I have to make sure that when the changes are being done, then there is no effect of change on the other programs or on the other parts of the software, right? So if one change is being done, then it should be consistent. That means consistency should be maintained in the software completely. So we have to monitor the change and control the change in the software configuration management after the identification. Next thing, I have to ensure that proper implementation of change is made to the item. And lastly, we are going to audit and report this particular change which we have made. When I'm saying we, I mean to say the development team, right? So these are the points which you have to remember: identification, modification, monitoring, controlling, proper implementation, auditing, and reporting, right? Moving further, if I talk about the objective of software configuration management, so the basic or the main objective, the highlight point is what? I need to maximize the productivity and I need to minimize the errors or mistakes. So what I'm going to do, if at all, because configuration management is all about change, then why the change is required? First question is this: the change is required because I want to improve the software. I want to improve the performance of the software. I want to improve its response time. I want to improve its productivity. So what I have to do, I am implementing change just to make sure that I am maximizing the productivity with the help of minimizing the errors. When I'm minimizing the errors, obviously the productivity will increase. So it is the vice versa process, right? Productivity or improved performance is enhanced. How it is enhanced? When I am minimizing the errors, right? So minimize the errors and improvise the performance. Now, basic points which you have to remember for software configuration management are, it is an umbrella activity. Very important point. SCM is termed to be as an umbrella activity which is applied throughout the software process. It is not just a one point of time when we are applying this, but this is applied altogether with common consent. Now in this, what you can see is, when I say umbrella activity, what does actually umbrella activity means? If you talk about software quality, I'm just giving you an example. If you talk about software quality in a software, so software quality is not single phase in which we are, confirming the software quality in the product. What we are doing, we are taking care of software quality in all the phases of SDLC, whether it starts from requirement analysis to design to coding to implementation, that is coding, to deployment and to testing and maintenance, right? In all the phases, what I'm doing, I am making sure that software quality, the quality is involved in the complete product by ensuring the software quality in all the phases. So software quality is an umbrella activity. So this is how we define SCM is also an umbrella activity which is applied throughout the software process, right? Then you have to control of the evolution of complex systems. That means why this SCM is provided, because I need to evolve a complex system with the help of implementation of the changes and taking care of the changes, that no further effects are made due to those changes which are making adverse effects. Next one, manages the effects of change. I'm talking about. So manages the effect of changes. Example, if I have done any changes in single module, if I have done any change in one module, and that particular module when integrated with other module can have adverse effect at the performance of the module 2. So due to which I have to make sure that whatever the changes are being done, that is not going to affect the other software process. Then control of change. Next point is identification of individual SCIs. What is SCI? SCI is software configuration items. That means whatever we have to change, those particular, that it can be documentation part, it can be computer programs, it can be the modules, or it can be certain functionalities which are to be changed or which are to be modified. So those are termed to be as the SCIs. So I have to identify individual SCIs and various versions of the software. Then auditing is going to be taking place, and lastly reporting of all the changes which are being applied to the configuration, right? So these are the main points which you have to remember for software configuration management, right? Moving further, now the question arises, why we need software configuration management. It is needed because of the main reason is these three reasons. The first one is multiple people are working on a software. On a software, multiple people are working. There is not a surety that one person who is dedicated as a software tester for a specific software will be available throughout the software development process. It can be a possibility that his team has been changed due to any circumstances. It can be a possibility he has left the company and moved to some other company, or any other case can be there. So it is the point that multiple people are working on the software, so we have to maintain the consistency and updation should be done properly. So that is why there is a need of SCM. Second point, as we say that there are multiple people, same way there are multiple versions, branches and authors are involved in the software project. and the team is geographically distributed and works concurrently. That means what? That means that on a software which is being developed, there are conditions that multiple author means multiple developers are working on a specific software, and they are geographically distributed. That means they are not at same place. There can be at multiple places at that particular time. They are geographically distributed. One team is present in US maybe, and one team is in India. So this is how they are geographically distributed, and they are working concurrently. So there can be a communication gap, there can be inconsistency in the updation of their work. So for that particular reason, SCM is required. Next, the last point is, it can be due to the changes in the user requirement, due to the changes in the policy, due to the changes in the budget schedule that is need to be accommodated. That means, let's say if there are certain requirements which have been changed by the user itself, by the client itself, so that is a agenda where we need to do the SCM. There can be a possibility that certain policies has been changed from the government side, so we need to include certain things into the present software, so SCM is needed. There can be a possibility that budget or schedule has been changed by the maybe by the user client, or maybe by the side of the development team. So these are the conditions on which we need the SCM, that is software configuration management. Now, next point is, what is the actually importance of SCM? So basically, whatever we have done till now, all these are forming the important points in the importance. So you can see here that this is a gist of whatever we were studying till now. It is practical in controlling and managing the access to software to various SCIs. How? By preventing two members of a team for checking out the same component for modification at the same time. That means we need to work on the consistency, and this particular control and management can be easily done with the help of SCM. It also helps in ensuring that changes are being properly implemented. We have already seen this. It has the capability of describing and storing various constituent of software. That means various versions are being stored with the proper version control. Lastly, the SCM is used in keeping a system consistent. This is what I'm talking about every time, consistency. Consistent state by automatically producing derived version upon modification of the same component. So if a single component is being modified, then we are working it as the versions. That means certain changes being done and it is stored as version 1. So version 1.1 will be there, then certain changes are there being done again, and then it is stored with the point as version 1.12. So this is how this being done. So I think that's the thing we are going to study in all these particular points, right?